Welcome to the final playoff, guys, in Gold. This is the last series of Gold. Then Gold will be over. We already know who's relegated. We already know the 7 players that are promoted to Platinum for the next season. But this determines the final one. S0bek, who's here in the blue, he is extremely underrated. And I think a lot of people forget he was in Gold before. He won his group before. He was then in Platinum before. Unfortunately, he was relegated out of Platinum back down to Gold. But he's been there, done that. And so for Mihai's younger. Mihai's on a pretty young team right now. And Mihai's reached some maybe bigger heights, like qualifying for Hidden Cup, for example, being really close to some LAN events. I think a lot of people look at Mihai, and rightly so, are thinking he's the favorite today. But let's not discount the fact that S0bek has the experience. And I think it should be a pretty crazy set. It's also a really interesting Civ matchup to start it off. Chinese are insane if they don't take damage early. And Magyars are all about dishing out the damage. So game plan should be pretty clear for S0bek. He's going to need to move forward and get some kills here. Pawns in the middle. Usually players are going to take advantage of that in combination with scouts and spears. But yeah, I would say he's a very clean player. And S0bek's kind of got that old-fashioned aggro play to him. And the other thing about S0bek's style, let me think about how I can word this. Okay, so if you're a player who thrives on being clean, it can sometimes be very hard to do that when the nerves are super high. And so if your skill set is cleanliness, and then when the nerves hit you like a rock, you fall apart, it's twice as bad. Whereas if you're a player who's super messy and super aggressive, that actually suits itself to nervy games sometimes, in my opinion. So I don't know if the nerves are going to be that obvious between these two, because these guys have had longer careers than, say, Lucho and Prisma. But that's something to think about. I think like one wrong mistake against Magyars or even against S0bek, and maybe some things go wrong. So that's pretty much my intro here, guys. I think S0bek's like 28, 29. Mihai, how old is he, Chad? He's like 20, 21. Definitely feels like the theme this season in Gold has been the younger players have finally been able to make it. Lucho, he had lost in Silver before. Prisma even lost in Silver before. They eventually made the playoffs. Lucho wins. Sizcon had lost in Silver before, never made it to Gold. He makes Gold. He gets promoted. Lewis kind of came out of nowhere the last couple years. He makes his first Gold. He moves on. All these like really young next generation players. So, but we'll see if S0bek comes to the middle. Looks like he is. No loom for him right now. Mihai seems to be looking for that Vil, but he might back off here. Is it worth that? Oh man, S0bek with the quick walls. That was beautifully done there from S0bek. And should be able to complete his dock. Oh, but Mihai's bringing the Vil. I love this from Mihai. And S0bek isn't expecting this. That's a loomed Vil. So that dock might be denied. This is huge. Even just delaying it's huge. S0bek's now queuing loom. This is so smart from Mihai. And he can block there, get the hill maybe, and kill the Vil. You delay the dock. You delay all the fishing ships. And Mihai... Oh, man, that's so good. That's so good. Like, and it must be some level of preparation, too, to just think about it and say, listen, I've got loom. They've got to catch up to me. That is worse than losing a Vil. That is like losing 2 or 3. Because now the fishing ships are delayed. We may also see S0bek want to kill this Vil and force the issue in retaliation. But I would say patience is probably the best way to play it. He's actually using the villager there to push in the last deer. And once the dock is up, he can click up. And there he goes. And Mihai at the same time. But yeah, what is this? Number 1 Civ pick for Mihai? Definitely a civilization that just goes well if things aren't messy. Yeah, S0bek, I don't think he ever does this if he didn't have that villager go down. I think the correct play, as sad as it is he's just got to back up for now. Still stick to the game plan. Now, too many people with the Chinese... They play defensive on this map. And I think you can, like, because you're bringing in more resources, you can match the opponent's army. You should be able to even match the opponent's attack. So we'll see how Mihai chooses to play it. He does like his walls. He does like his archers. but it's not hugely extreme usually. A couple of vills are going to go to golds. So that could be to win water. But for better or for worse here, it looks like S0bek is just not going to even mess around with water. Maybe one fire galley, but it's going to be all about the scouts. Harris says, can you talk about their teammates? Why? Because Margugu's in chat? I don't think it's a good time to talk about teammates right now. I think they're in feudal age. We'll have army. I mean, DS has a lot of players. A lot of players. I don't know, though, if it's the same as Fox with the training. I'd have to speak to S0bek. I imagine S0bek's been training, but I don't know to what degree. But this has not been the start he would have wanted. You don't want anything to go wrong against the Chinese, and it's been awkward. And there's a stable there. Is he also not... Oh, man, he also didn't find his sheep here. Didn't find his sheep because he was pushing in deer and his scout was in the middle. And so... I mean, it is nice, though, that he didn't push the deer next to his mill. So you could still take the deer there, still take the berries, but... Food income's going to be tough. He'll lose his fishing ship. So 3 fishing ships for Mihai. This is like... I mean, Mihai's going for the crazy walls. But he will still have scouts. He does still have spears out. And this is looking really good for Mihai if he can wall everything up. Perfect build. It was a horrible loss for S0bek at the start. And I'm looking for positives for S0bek. Just not quite seeing it yet. He needs to get the scouts out. He needs to deny these walls. Mihai's walling up pretty nicely here. This is the area he's most exposed. Just that Ville. That gets spotted, then maybe S0bek could be through. But S0bek's scouts just now coming out of the stable back at home. And yeah, he's not going to get there in time. Listen, it is not a player's job to make the games close and entertaining for us. I mean, maybe it is if we're doing, like... If it's a show match and we're inviting people based on their entertainment value... then I guess there it would maybe be their job if they want to be invited again. But when it comes to tournaments, it's just, you need to get the job done at all costs, right? And so it hasn't been this crazy, thrilling, exciting opening for Mihai, but that's exactly what he'll prefer. It's kind of crazy for S0bek, though. Like, maybe he just assumed he can't do any damage. Look at him pushing more deer. I guess he saw the walls. It is true. Had he moved forward, he wouldn't have been able to do anything. So he'd just be stuck. Horse collar's already in for Mihai. Hunt in the back's coming in for Mihai. There's probably a feeling in his mind of like, I'm just behind. Like, I gotta go do something. The best thing for you to do in this situation, though, would be to follow up the scouts with archers. Then you could at least disrupt the walls. Then you could pressure there. But you have to combine that with also needing to defend now. Scouts will come through. Spears are around for S0bek. And now Mihai will be a bit annoying with the scouts. But Mihai, I think, wants to go Castle Age here. So if you... I mean, if your resources are looking like this, it might not be too risky to play defensive after all. Almost feels like a weird situation for him to go Chukunu. Like, all these vills next to the stone. He has enough on gold. He has enough food. You don't see Chukunu here, but... Normally you'd see cav archers or something, but... The scouts run away. Army from S0bek has not been able to break through. Just 2 kills for both. And S0bek may be building up towards cav archers long term. Could this game progress to cav archers and Castle Age? Yeah, absolutely. I think it feels like the natural switch. Again, it's a weird world where Mihai could have actually pulled off Chukunu or something, but I don't know if that's better than CA. Also, I did reach out to Dave about casting, but I didn't get a response. So that's just... That's usually how it goes with Dave. I'll just say, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to cast? When it's playoffs, I'll make... Well, actually, with Platinum and beyond, I'm going to make more solid plans, ideally. But yeah, he must be catching them all or something. I'm not sure. Bloodline's on the way here for Mihai. Double range, so it feels like cav archers. You could because you have the worst cav archers, think about going skirms. But you just consider that even though your opponent's cav archers are better long-term, your eco is better short-term. Well, long-term at this point. And you can just kind of beat them to the punch. This is going to be, I mean, 18-minute castle time on the back of all of this from Mihai. He lost, I guess, a fishing ship? What did he lose? Did I miss him losing a village? It says he lost something. I probably forgot about it at this point. What villager did he lose? I don't know. Apparently he did lose one. I probably showed it and just forgot. But, I mean, this has been as good a start to a tournament as you would want. You've had no pressure your way. This gets to calm your nerves. Maybe S0bek went for a demo. Yeah, okay, there was 3 fish and he lost one. I think S0bek might have gone for a demo there. It was probably a demo because the fire didn't take any damage here. Or maybe it was a spear. That's true. All right, well, best of luck to you, S0bek. Mihai's gonna boom. I was a little aggressive, but he's gonna boom. Second TC, third TC. Love the third TC because it protects the gold, which is the most vulnerable. Second TC is great as well because it's on a gold and a wood line. I don't think he'll be able to get like fast ballistics. I don't think he'll be able to produce cav archers perfectly all the time. But he's going to have 4 CA before S0bek can even make 1. Just, I mean, this has been the exact opposite of what the Magyars would want here. This has been tough for me to find positives for S0bek. Where are the people who said 3-0 Mihai right now? Everyone's like, this is the start I was envisioning. Let's go. I actually like the call from S0bek not to go CA. You can't try cav archers here. And it was the correct guess. Technically, Mihai could have gone knights. And then the skirms wouldn't have been the play. But he correctly guessed it was going to be cav archers. That's actually pretty clutch. So he'll have elite skirm to hold. But Magyars do not have any eco bonuses. Don't start with the additional vills. They don't have the cheaper techs. I said it in my video, by the way, where I talked about the tease of the potential new DLC that's coming out. That could be like the Chinese DLC. I personally feel like the devs... So they made Chinese better with 2 separate changes over the past like year or so. And it was baffling to me that they did that. And So I have my own channels to be able to discuss with devs, basically. And let's just say it's been rather quiet on that front. And I was just thinking, there's no way. I really felt like it's been a long time since we've had a DLC. They added auto drop-off hotkey. They gave Chinese the pop space and the vision on their TCs. I'm like, competitively, the Civ is really, really strong. And they're just kind of leaving it as is, you know? And I think I'll be curious to see if Chinese is no longer the Chinese, right? It seems like rumors are they'll be split up into some different civs. That's the angle they want to take the DLCs. So, S0bek 3 TCs on skirms and defense. But guys, Mihai, 15 villager lead. And it's been flawless. The cav archers have found a couple picks. Not enough to end the game, but enough to just continue to grow this lead. And man, if you can, like... I cannot stress this enough to you guys. The way a tournament starts is so important to calm down your nerves and give you some control. And he's, like... S0bek is simply just trying to stabilize and chase and fight. Can't do any counter damage. And Mihai is just completely controlling the game. The worst thing that could have happened for Mihai is like a super messy, scrappy game where he can't get a feel for his own game and play his best. This is exactly what you're thinking about when you're thinking about Mihai. Yeah, Basterman says it feels like this game was already over at the start of Feudal. Honestly, I mean, Mihai's with all the advantages he's taken, it kind of feels like maybe after killing the Vil. Like, Chinese have a ridiculous eco. Mihai had the perfect build, and then he was 4 workers ahead or 5 workers ahead because he just stopped the dock. But again, let's give him credit because he has played it perfectly. I hate it. I hate it when, like, you know, someone casts me, right? And then the caster's just sitting there like, yeah, well, I mean, this Civ is just so much better. What are you even going to do? And I'm just like, you know, I rewatch for a little bit of ego boosting. And I'm like, well, give me credit, bro. Like, I'm getting the relics. I'm 3 TC. I got all the upgrades. I'm switching to stables. Like, you know, the Civ can do this if you play perfectly. Let's also give respect to S0bek for at least, like, continuing to grind this one out. But I think he's just thinking maybe my opponent makes a misstep. And if he loses his CA once, he's dead. And then he can get to Magyar Cav Archers. He's trying to make that switch now. But it's just so good for Mihai. He's planning the +2 Knight switch. This is right around the point that S0bek's army is actually going to be the superior army. He's just going to switch. And to prove to you how good he is... Oh, he already did it, didn't he? Damn it. I was just going to say, I guarantee you, Mihai's going to send like 6 to 8 to stone. Start thinking about a castle. Textbook is right when you're at about like 70, 80 vills. After the 3 TC boom, you send those vills to stone. Ballistics is on the way for S0bek now. So if these Cav Archers go too far, they could definitely get spotted. But Mihai should know, because he saw the university, that Ballistics could be on the way. And Ballistics just hit. He should have been able to notice that Ballistics was in if he was looking there. T90, so you're saying you watch streams of your own games? If I play a really good game and someone casted it, you think I'm not watching to see what chat is saying about it and what the caster is saying about my gameplay? The guy who is always engrossed in Age of Empires 2 wouldn't watch that? Yeah, obviously I'm watching it. Duh. Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I think if I were to cast your games, you guys would probably watch as well, right? These Knights dive in. Skirms get pushed back. Another TC here for Mihai on the side to secure the stone. Here comes the counterattack from S0bek. First time in Castle Age he's thought of it. And Mihai's got the army there. I think S0bek's got some bigger problems at home right now. +2 is the issue on the Knights. The micro from Mihai is perfect with the CA. That's just not quite the Cav Archer mass you need to turn this game around if you're S0bek. Here's another Knight group. Mihai's going to finish the game here. Again, I think it was just the cleanest game Mihai could have hoped for. I think there's more to come from S0bek. I would not expect all the games to be quite like this, because there won't be a disastrous start in the Dark Age, and you also won't have the Chinese available anymore. But Mihai's got a love life right now, because S0bek's got to claw back mentally after this. He's just, like, he's fighting like crazy. So many people would have resigned already. But this is not a good feeling for him right now. Again, Knights just underneath every TC, it feels like. 4 TC boom here for Mihai. Look at those resources as well. And now defensive castles. Just textbook. Just textbook. Get the castle up to protect more golds. Now, what army you make long-term is a little bit questionable with Chinese, because we are reaching that stage of the game where the Magyar Cav Archers scale better. But with the 8,000 additional resources, I think he can figure it out. I wouldn't mind Skirm. Like, Skirm Cavalier could maybe make a lot of sense here. I think he could choose any option except for maybe Champion and probably still be fine. Kind of crazy, but he could open Heavy Scorpion and probably win. With this big of an eco lead. S0bek would have to go Knights, stay in Castle Age. Like, it'd be really tough, so. Ambition says, wow, what an ego, as he goes to watch recordings of his own games. Yeah, and when you watch recordings of your own games, you watch the wins and not the losses, right? I actually, I do watch my losses because that's the only way to get better. But this game's hard, man. It's fun to rewatch some games when they go well for you. So very easy to not watch your losses, because you just feel like crap. So I get it. I imagine the average player never watches any of their losses. Another castle here from Mihai. We'll see if S0bek calls it. Again, Mihai's army isn't really the biggest, but he's just played a game where he's unbreakable here. And I think this castle should go up. Almost like he knew this was coming. He did, actually, if he saw it with the outpost. Yeah, he knew it was coming. All right. 93%. And that's about on par with how this game has gone for S0bek. He won't deny the castle. Imp is in. And there were more raids coming over here from Mihai. And Mihai just had the dream start to the series. Again, I could kind of tell it was going to be this way in the Dark Age. I could just, or early feudal, I could tell Mihai was going to take the no risk approach. So it probably wasn't the most entertaining game you've ever seen. But that's exactly what Mihai wants here today. 2 more victories and he's platinum. But that was his best Civ pick. And he did have the amazing move at the start. It's already going to be good for him when he kills that villager. But you kill someone's Dockville and you're both docking. You're ahead of Vil that you wouldn't otherwise be because of the Vil kill. And then you're ahead by 2 or 3 workers because of delaying the fishing ships. So it's huge to kill the dock villager. And I think S0bek needed to think about that, honestly. Like, there's always going to be villagers out there. His enemy scout was around. I think he's going to be kicking himself for that. Game number 2. Grim Tripper is 1,200 and is the hope of Croatia. Okay, well, I could see it. Hey, we do have Titans League Community Cup. And there's separate groups for all elos. Low elo, mid elo. You might be in like the dirt league, but you could still represent Croatia very well there. Mihai wants a clean game. He wants a smooth game. That was how I advertised this. He got that in the first game. I think this map could work very well for him. I'm surprised that S0bek has gone here instead of to cross. Like, cross can be pretty crazy. He wasn't really able to get the craziness going in the first game due to the bad start. This might be the first time that I've seen Armenians here. Has anyone... Do you guys remember any Armenians on this map in other games? I didn't watch every single Gold League game. I did watch all of Platinum. I don't think we've seen it before in Plat. I'd say it's likely maybe we saw it a couple more times, but kind of an interesting choice. It's not a Civ that relies a lot on gold, so it could be good for that. It's a really good Civ to get relics, and there's 7 relics on the map. They're very good with Navy, which obviously could be used on this map as well. So, yeah, on paper, it's pretty good. I think the reason a lot of people don't pick Armenians on this map is because of the lack of bomber cannon. So I think with no bomber cannon, you could have some problems contesting the golds in early imp. And when you're up against Mihai, who's Malay, it's going to be really difficult to win, like, Treb battles. Malay can just hit you with those timings. On the previous series, earlier today, we actually had Malay banned. We also had Chinese banned, did we not? So, the draft has been way different. Prisma and Lucho both banned, got rid of the civilizations that Mihai's been able to play so far. I think that says a lot. But let's also, again, give credit to Mihai, so... Okay, the best player from Croatia is 1,800. Interesting. Okay, so he's getting there. Here's a fun game. If you guys name a country, I will tell you the best players from that country. Maybe some of you watching right now don't know if there's any high-level players from your country. I could probably think of some. North Korea? Well, come on. I mean, let's not pick that country. Australia. Ooh, okay, Australia and high-level players. Oof. That's a tough one. No, okay, I can think of some. So, my boy Soxy, who's been following the stream for 10 years, he's solid. He's 2K1, 2K2. Even Robo, who's admin a lot of tournaments, is solid in team games. Most of the people from Australia, most of the best players from Australia tend to be really good team game players. So, you have, like, Shed. You also have... Oh, man, there's a lot of countries I don't know players from in chat. Who else am I thinking from Australia? Come on, team game, guys. Help me out, chat. I said I'd help you. Why am I... Zane. I'm pretty sure Zane. Zane is really good. Yeah, Razor is good. You also have No Zombie. No Zombie is probably your best 1v1 player, Australia. Okay, next country. Are you guys even from these places? Or are you just listing the most obscure countries you can think of? Somalia? Come on. Come on. Like... I thought this would be way more fun. I think chat is trying to make this way too difficult for me. This is stupid. This Greece. Okay, Greece. Well, there's not many, but there is a player from Greece actually. So Mista was really good. But there was another player. Who is he? Mista playing AoE4 now on Age of Mythology. He's mainly an AOM player. There was somebody else from Greece. Help me out here, brain. Actually, you know what? That player is not from Greece. Yeah, Jidba played Deathmatch. Let's go, Ducks. Jidba was a beast in Deathmatch. Deathmatch is, unfortunately, not as big a thing these days. Fast Feudal Galleys, by the way. Okay, you guys, chat, I'm no longer going to play interesting trivia games with you. I just want to say that. You guys suck, all right? I thought it was actually going to be interesting. Okay, we got Portugal. Okay, that's a fun one to work with. Okay, so Portugal. There's Greed. Greed is like 2K2. Who else is good from Portugal? I think Greed is the best Portuguese player. There's actually not many Portuguese talents, honestly. But you guys do have a 2K plus player to work with. Best player from Taiwan. The best player is probably like... There's so many good ones these days. There's Z40. There's Clouds. There's Sorakuma. There's You Pudding. Did I say Clouds? There's Rays. There's others too. Like, I mean, the list goes on. They've got a lot of solid players, especially some young players who are really well practiced these days. Double galleys here from S0bek. He's going to aim to win water, but the Malay just advance faster. So, like, their eco will be superior if nothing changes here. So this puts S0bek under pressure. It just feels like the theme of the series is S0bek's Civ from the jump is behind and he has to do damage. And Mihai's going to just play to his strength and not take the damage. There's the sea tower here, too. What about Bulgaria, T90? Bulgaria has Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt played in silver. Thunderbolt was the player who actually lost to Red Phosphoru. Sorry for bringing that up, Thunderbolt. He has a lot of potential. He's solid. The reason I know he's from Bulgaria is because when I was casting him, I thought he was from Hungary because I think their flags are very similar. And then I was informed on the differences between the flags. Norway? Norway doesn't have any good players. No players of note from Norway. They honestly are all kind of trash. So no one you can really think of from that country that's good. I guess the Viper and MBL. Yeah, they're pretty good. Beyond that, though, they actually don't have many good players. I thought there was a player who was super good from Norway that was an up-and-comer, and then I found out it was a Vietnamese player using a VPN. So, yeah, there was a player named Buddy, and there was a player named Kong back in the day who were around 2K. But I guess they've got their two top players. I don't think they have much of next generation coming through. Yeah, Keller used to be pretty solid as well. Kongen is from Denmark. Denmark's got a bunch of solid like 2K2s, 2K3s. They have Emil, they have Good Game, and they have Kongen. They're all around the same level, but no one in the top 20 or top 30. So, I guess, are we just going to keep playing this game as the Galley War continues? I mean, I have to point out again, so far, it's like S0bek has done nothing wrong except for the draft. I mean, you could make an argument that trying to play galleys here is maybe bad against the Malay if they match that, but then you're Armenians, you have the extra bolts here. So, I think it's smart for Mihai. Mihai knows that even if he loses water, the main thing is he just needs decent eco, and so he actually adds a couple fish behind this. Super greedy, but at a certain point, investing in the water in the middle isn't all that important long term. I think it does come down to the boom. Does Canada have good players other than Slam? Well, Hera's Canadian. Canada also... Canada doesn't really have a next generation coming through. But Canada has a lot of really good players who've been around a long time. Mentalist, he's not as active these days. He's amazing. One of the GOATs, Chris, is amazing. And he still will occasionally play and be 2,400, 2,500. Those are the players that come to mind immediately. As far as active players beyond that, they don't have too many. Survivalist is pretty active. He's around 2K2, 2K3. Tigger's out there, plays some team games. What happened to Luca from Canada? So Luca... And we got to stop playing this game because people want me to actually cast. So I'll do one more country after this and we'll stop. I don't know. Luca was like 16, 17, really had a lot of potential, and then he disappeared. And then he came back to the game. He told me he would be 2K4 in a week. I saw he was 2K1, and then I never saw him again. So I don't know exactly what happened with him. I just remember him confidently coming back and saying he would be 2,400 in a week and then disappearing forever. So... That's kind of funny. But he was a solid player, man. All right, so Galley War, and they click up at essentially the same time here. Main difference, though, is there's one more galley for Mihai and 6 more fishing ships. And will be more Vils because he's Malay, advancing faster. Mihai has had a masterclass with the draft so far. And he's had... really solid openings in Feudal Age to just set himself up perfectly. But a lot of different things can happen on this map. Villagers coming this way from Mihai now. I think he's going to TC the gold. And one thing I didn't mention is Mihai did lose his fish. Or sorry, his scout, sorry. Bit of a brain fart there. So I don't know where he lost it. But he doesn't have a scout to see what S0bek's doing. S0bek does have the scout to see this, in theory. If he uses that. T90, what about Colombia? The best player from Colombia is Ozone. He's very good. I mean, he's got a lot of potential to make it into Gold League, in my opinion. I'm also good friends with him. But he was very close to getting into the final rounds. I think if he would have made the final rounds in Silver, he would have probably qualified and beat Say My Name. I can't think of many other really solid players from Colombia, though. So it's mainly just Ozone. There might be a couple others I'm missing. The galleys are not upgraded yet for S0bek. And Mihai, so far, is just proving everyone who said easy 3-0 for Mihai right. He's playing so clean, guys. Like, everything is so well calculated. Everything is super smooth. Look at this. S0bek knows he's lost water and is desperately trying to do anything now. He's hoping to kill the fish. He will find some kills. And Mihai maybe just needs to keep track of that. Okay, well, I jinxed him. This is actually kind of sloppy. And TC number 2, TC number 3 from Mihai. Now, what I'd like to see from Mihai, I'd like to see the fortified church go up. And, oh... Okay, so his scout's going to see... His scout hasn't been moving, but I think he'll eventually notice this because he sees the siege workshop. And then this becomes important. Now, on that note, Mihai just saw movement with Vils with his navy. So that's why he's adding siege. He killed one of the Vils there. So this is heads-up play from Mihai. We may see him mine a little bit of stone next to this TC, just so he can build an outpost in the middle here. Because when you go 3 TCs, you don't have the stone. I can pretty much guarantee you he does that. He does not have a lot of food eco, though. He really doesn't have many farms. Wow. And, oh my god, S0bek's got crazy amounts of farms. So S0bek's TCs can actually produce Vils. And S0bek sniped most of the fishing ships from Mihai. S0bek's scout will see this. Church is going to go up. And this could lead to a siege push. This could lead to getting 2 relics here. Yeah, this is the most important area of the map right now. This area, obviously, Heads up play from Mihai to at least know there's going to be something over here. So that one relic's in the monastery right away. And yeah, S0bek won't be able to build the outpost. And Mihai builds on stone. He'll make the outpost here soon. He obviously needs to farm, but he also needs to focus on the siege push. I don't think S0bek should make anything on water, by the way. I think that's something for later. Honestly, it just feels like whoever wins the siege push might win this game. I know it's easy to look at the res collected for Mihai and think that he's got an advantage, but they both committed a third of their economy here, and it's on a map with limited gold. Also, the relics will fire some arrows, so it does kind of add to the possibilities here for S0bek. And we see a second monastery now, so I think the plan is redemption with these monks to convert the siege. Mihai's just shifted even more villagers onto that stone, so he's definitely thinking about a castle. And he's paid very close attention there. Didn't know there was a siege workshop this whole time. And we'll see the opponent's mangonel. He also sees the second monastery, which is pretty sick. He will also take out the sea tower. That should go down. He'll have all the shoreline then. And attack round from Mihai on the monk. Monk goes down. That could be a third relic right there. And it still will be anyways. But now redemption will be in. So, like, what is Mihai's plan now? If he built a defensive castle and made karambits, it'd actually be very helpful to clear all this up, but it's not a natural feeling. So S0bek's going to check the other side. We may see him run over there to build the TC. Tough to do that when the galleys are patrolling there. You need sanctity, though. See, monks is not something I really contribute to S0bek. Booming isn't something I really attribute to S0bek. It's usually lots of army and lots of messiness. Oh, man. Mihai's micro so good. And now he's going to drop his castle. And S0bek, I think, was just going to get the relic. He doesn't have the monks here to convert. And this could be horrible for S0bek. His relics are also here. The relics are in the fortified church. You've got to get them out. It's so clean for Mihai, man. This really seems to be his day so far. I think S0bek can't give up this area, though. I think you have to cast... Oh, yeah. Let's go. You have to do damage. So I think he's going to try and castle the TC for Mihai somehow. But is that even possible? It's not, right? No, it'd never go up. It'd never go up. Karambits can come out. Siege would see it. You know, like, obviously, Malay are good, right? And obviously, Chinese are good in game number 1. But you know a player is playing good? When you're just like, Civ win. Like, what can the guy do? Impossible. And, okay, Mangonel gets converted. If only that could have happened a little bit earlier. I think Mihai sees this castle and he sells the barn to click imp for Trebs. Just idle your TC for a moment. Sell off any additional wood you need to get gold to click up. And then Malay... Like, now S0bek is going to... It's just like the galley opening. Like, he's going to try and go imp. This is the correct play, but he's not playing in the same terms. His eco is caught up, by the way. Even though he doesn't have fish. No sanctity with redemption, though, is crazy. You really need that upgrade. And Mihai knows... Mihai knew he didn't have it. You would never attack there if the opponent had sanctity. That's really good play. Deletes his mangonel and kills 2 monks. If you have sanctity, your monks can receive a shot to the face 1 time from the mangonel and survive. And it's usually pretty important to have. Karambits are going to run around, run through. S0bek wanted to come to this stone. S0bek's on the way to imp for a Trebor. But castle number 2 for Mihai, who will be imp in 70 seconds. The Karambits won't kill much. But it's just more annoyance for S0bek to have to deal with here. And I don't see an easy way S0bek can win this. Again, it's weird. I think he's played really solid. I mean, game one, he was brutalized in Dark Age, and Chinese are OP, sure. But, like, there's a reason Malay get banned. Malay are banned in so many sets. If they're played to their maximum, they will dominate. And Mihai has done that so far. There's no chance, guys. I cannot think of a way. Defensive castle from S0bek here to maybe try and reclaim water. Trebs will be on the way for Mihai now, I believe. Maybe you get over here if you're S0bek. But Mihai's got outposts to see all that, too. Mihai will know. This castle will go up. Mihai will have to back off the shoreline there. The Trebs are on the way. How many times did Mihai play this map? I'm not sure. I don't really remember. But I've been asking everyone who gets promoted to Platinum how much they've been training, and everyone said a lot. And in Mihai's case, there's Dark, who's playing like an absolute beast in Platinum League. There's Margugu, who's also in Platinum League. And I'm sure will look like an absolute beast the next 2 weeks. Especially if you're here, Margugu. We're expecting that. You've got Sebastian, who's been an absolute god in Plat. I mean, like, Fox as a squad has been so sharp. And everyone's been looking so good. So it's just time for Mihai to join his Platinum boys, you know? The castle did kill all the ships, which is a pretty big deal, especially with Armenian Navy. I think if S0bek can just get Vils over here, you can give up this area and then win water, and then maybe this stabilizes. Things could get interesting. Villager chases Monk with Relic. I'll keep you updated on what happens there. I think the Monk's going to drop off the Relic and then convert the Vil, actually. There's units here, too, I should pay attention to, but I really can't stop looking at this. Ah, there we go. All right. So many Trebs here from Mihai. He'll take down the castle. He'll also take down the church. There's 2 relics in there. There's then going to be 3 relics here for Mihai to take. Castle is a fallback from S0bek. And he's going to go Navy, but he has 0 gold income now. Except for 2 relics at home. Man, he made a lot of churches. I like the fact that he took some of the relics home, though. Or got some of the relics home. I like the coming back on the water, because land is not going too well for you right now. Mihai has all this gold locked down. Arbalest, Trebs, and Bomber Cannons can all move forward, but first he'll start with S0bek's houses. How big a deal would it be that Mihai lost all those ships and gave S0bek potential back onto water? This could get interesting. Look at the techs he's getting. Heavy demo and galleon, but he has 0 on gold. You got to get over to the gold now. And now the Navy protects the shoreline and he can walk over. There's nothing there from Mihai. Well, actually, there's 3 crossbows. Mihai's still focused pushing over here. This looked so good for Mihai. S0bek trying to manage this game at times looked like me trying to guess players from some of those countries that I know the chatters who said it don't live in. I have my analytics, okay? But he's turning it around somehow. He's going to get over to golds. I would really prefer a TC or a castle here before his opponent spots him, but he doesn't have outposts, so that's desperation right now. And it's desperation with stone, too, because he just doesn't have the stone to build a castle on the other side because he's repairing here. I feel like this castle's going to go down, guys. There's 3 Trebs from Mihai. He's repairing them. There's also the bomber cannon firing on the Trebs from S0bek that he's using in defense. And the castle falls. The Trebs will fall. The villagers on golds get killed. Mihai noticed it. And Mihai will drop a castle here as well. And I think that was really the only way. Now, Mihai does have to respect the water somewhat. But he can add more docks. And he has fast fires now. And he can come kill all that. He will kill that too. The amount of fast fires he has will absolutely destroy there. And S0bek never really able to take control, not only in this game, but just in the series. And so again, it's just been like near perfect play from Mihai. It's kind of been rare to see that in the playoffs so far. We've had some really contested games, back and forth. But like the game plan has just looked perfect for Mihai. And again, it's like, I just got to say, you look, it's the first 2 civs for Mihai, right? He's been able to play them, and he's played them perfectly. And these are some of the most banned civs so far. So S0bek, his priority on civilization, at least he hasn't been able to get the type of game that he wants. I really thought that maybe going cross for game number 2 would make sense. Like, take it somewhere that those top civs don't play well. Make it messy, because S0bek cannot play this adaptive style like Mihai can. I did collect more resources in the end, but he didn't have the gold, he didn't have the stone. So 1 win away for Mihai to finally get to platinum. He was in the playoffs the 2 seasons prior in gold and lost. See if he can do it, or if S0bek can get back to platinum and start a bit of a reverse sweep. Again, the positive for S0bek is just like, it hasn't felt like the matchups are there. Maybe some of the other maps, the matchups can be better. So here we are, game 3. Someone also asked about Japanese AoE2 players. They also have some players who are less active, but Chart played in silver. Chart's like early 30s, mid 30s, less active, but is really good. The legend Noboru, who I've made videos on. Now, he was never really like top, but he still got good with some cool strats. What's another Japanese player I'm missing here? Similar to Chart, where he's much older. There's another player that comes to mind. Anyways, we've got Cross here. We've got Mihai playing as the Huns. We've got S0bek playing as the Japanese. I think this matchup is the first matchup where I can look at this and say this is even. Honestly. The other ones, it felt like it was like S0bek has to outplay his opponent early, or he has problems. So I think we'll finally see the version of S0bek that I've been advertising. There's not many Korean AoE2 players at the high level. There used to be. Some of the, like, there are some players who won tournaments in the early 2000s, but they moved on to other games, and I don't think there's too many high-level Korean players these days. Wasn't Grunt Korean? Yeah, I think Grunt was Korean. I think Halen was maybe Japanese? I forget. Do Switzerland, please, T90. The highest rated player from Switzerland is TRM. It's like 2,200. Does play in tournaments from time to time. Has been around a bit. But there's not too many other players. He might be the only player above the ranking of 2K. So, are there any other Turkish players besides Kazva? A crap ton of Turkish players that are really good. Some of them are old school. Some of those are new school. So you've got Kazva, who's the most well known. Dr. Cosmonaut is super good. He was in silver. He got upset, but he did try and qualify for golds. Ubetnir is a classic player. You have what's the name of the other guy? Come on, it's bothering me. I don't know his name. Not Yax. Yax is good though. He doesn't play anymore, but Yax is really good. Shoot. I played against him a million times. What's his name? Well, Cyclops was top. Cyclops is still around. He was top 5 in the world back in the mid-2000s. He's still active. Chronotovi's good. Rusher. GLX Rusher. Thank you. I was confused because I was thinking his name started with a G. But I just call him Rusher anyway, so. Yeah, Rusher's been around a long time. So Turkey's pretty stacked, man. Turkey's pretty stacked. Doc will go up over here for Mihai. Doc will go up over here for S0bek. So they both have their safe pond. Could see some sneak veils. I think the Japanese thrive on their early savings and making life really difficult for the Huns. So typically you see man-at-arm opening. But Mihai should expect that possibility. Mihai's scout was forward really early here. Looked like he tried to lame, actually. Looked like he maybe tried to find the dock and deny it, but they got there too early. So he was really going kind of unorthodox there. Typically, that scout's going to push a deer or two, and that's it. Odorlord says, hey, T90, I've come back to the game after a very long time and feel like the number of civs have gotten overwhelming. Any tips on how I can catch up? Well, I don't have a ton of tips on how you can necessarily catch up, but I do have some words of advice. Like, I understand why people are like, man, there's too much clutter now. There's so many civs, and I understand why that can be overwhelming. But AoE 2, you could pretty much play most strategies with every civ, right? Like, the Dark Age builds are still pretty much the same with most civs. Now, certain civs are slightly better at each thing. And sure, things like unique units you're going to face for the first time, and that might be a little confusing for you. But it's not like other games where the civs play out drastically different. And now here's another tidbit. Now, this might be a little bit more depressing than exciting for you. But unless you're, like, pretty high ranked, you're also probably not going to be good enough to take advantage of some of these tiny differential bonuses anyways. Right? Like how I spoke about the melee in the previous game. How you can use your timings. Guess what? 99% of chat can't use the timings. Sorry, chat. Your timings are going to disappear a little bit. All right? So, that's not meant to be mean, but I'm just saying, like, overall, every civilization plays out somewhat similarly, you know? And so that's actually a positive. What I would suggest is I would play around what you like. And then, like, let's say you're a big knight player, okay? And then you like to play knights. So you used to play Franks. Well, then you can look at some of the new civs and say, well, what civ's good with knights? And you could try them. That's what I would do. Is that helpful? Or did all of chat just get angry with me? Why did no one subscribe over the last 4 minutes? Was that too real? Sorry, chat. Would you... Let me back up. Well, the reality is everyone here's got a ton of potential. It's just... They're just too smart and focused on other areas of life to really care. If they really cared, though, I mean, oh my goodness. Everyone out there would just be incredible. Endless talent and skill. And, oh, and by the way, anytime anyone watching loses, it's because the enemy had the better civ. But when they win, it's because they were the better player, okay? Just important to remember that. You win, it's because you're good. But you lose, it's because the enemy had a better civ. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Freaking chat. Anyways, Mihai sees this. Mihai knows his opponent's civ. Mihai sees it will be man-at-arms. And you can't household with the Hun, so it's awkward. And so you've got to prep, but I mean this is some nice egg walling here. Honestly, I think S0bek should run around. Just run through. Just run through. There's not enough vills underneath the TC. Oh, that's so good. Mihai, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? Okay, well, one vill's down. Man-at-arms have paid off already. Complete panic time for Mihai. And Mihai tried to go for the quadruple gate. And nightmare start there. And this is exactly what S0bek wanted to do. It's a villager down already. And this is kind of the downside of not being able to make houses. You don't have anything you have to build that naturally defends you. But Huns can cook here. Huns can really fly over time. Behind this, there will be an archer follow-up from S0bek. He's got fishing ships coming out of this pond. No movements to any other ponds right now from any villagers. But what these man-at-arms do is they keep Mihai at home for the first couple minutes here. And actually, that archer might end up getting picked off. The spearman's rather weak. Oh, that's good micro from S0bek and from Mihai, actually. And spearman goes down, but archer makes it back. So I think if you really want to take advantage of Japanese, throughout this period of time, I'd love to see the vills going to the different corners. Like, easier said than done, of course, but that feels like a way you could maybe play it. It'll be scouts and archers from Mihai, so double army here. Still only 4 fishing ships for him, so it's not like he has a ton of food income. A double range for S0bek behind this. This will be a lot of archers. That could work. The scouts are all going to be rather weak after the man-at-arms. And then if he has slightly more archers than what Mihai has with good micro, could definitely work out. Don't see Mihai really producing many more scouts after this third one he has producing right now. Now, fletching isn't in yet for S0bek. It is actually in for Mihai. I like the positioning here from S0bek. Look at the way he's walled, too. But he's also not relying fully on the walls. He is prioritizing lots of army. Mihai will run right into these archers. He's fortunate that fletching isn't in yet for S0bek. My goodness. S0bek just now building his mill. So he doesn't have any farms yet. Mihai was very fast to that. And Mihai does have a dock over here and now down here making fish. And we've got a dock that will go up for S0bek in the north. And S0bek fletching on the way. And he will have way more archers than his opponent. The man-at-arms also helping there. That's fine. You lose those man-at-arms, that's fine. I guess that's okay for Mihai. Maybe he kills an archer. But the scouts haven't done much for him at all. I think Mihai could have some real problems here if S0bek is confident. Hard to be confident with how the games have gone, but I think you could force the issue here. You've got a big army. There's lots of vills exposed. So well played from S0bek, but skirms are out. Skirms are out. Skirms are on the front line. The skirms also have armor. Knight also very well played from Mihai. Hello, random archer. That was kind of unexpected. There's also the scouts headed that way. Now, what you can do is you can make a stable and add scouts against skirms. When the opponent has the archer mix, you need a lot of scouts. Random archers actually helping. That didn't really help enough. So S0bek's just going to reverse the order here, and he's going to also armor up and get his own skirms in front, which is kind of an interesting approach. It's really tricky, though. Once again, so impressed with how clean Mihai is playing. Like, he's on both pawns. He has the archer counterattack. He defended pretty well after losing that vill. It just seems to have so much confidence, man. And now, like, there's all these archers for S0bek, and he can't even group up his new skirms properly because of the skirms camping here. He's got to work so hard. Which honestly has been really well played from him. More skirms and archers producing behind this for Mihai. And we might see Castle Age. There's the fish in the north for S0bek. Feels like a pretty decent opportunity for S0bek to come down here and dock, but there's so much else to look at. Like, hyper-focused on land, both of them. Res collected is dead even. Military count's even. Population's even. But the skirm count for Mihai's looking pretty good. Mihai's got 8 farms, berries, fish. Has had more fishing ships working. We'll wall up this area. And we'll click up to Castle Age faster, man. I mean, 11 to 9 KD. Again, this game, it feels like within reach for S0bek. The other games, not so much. Maybe because of the civs. S0bek needed the market. He builds the market to buy the res to click up. And S0bek will be up here. Similar times. Similar armies. Look how annoyed S0bek is with that archer right now. I guarantee you... Never mind. I guarantee you Mihai won't notice that because he's microing here. I was going to say I guarantee you Mihai will micro it because he's playing that good. But he was preoccupied. But guys, this is kind of what you want. Like, losing just one eco unit to the Japanese. You're not losing any fish. You only lose that one vill against the man-at-arms. This is what you want. Now the Huns feel very fluid. Cheap lumber camps, mining camps, strong fishing ships. None of those things really matter at this stage of the game. It's not beneficial to the Japanese at all. Now, you might want to think about going into, like, cav archers with the Japanese. You do +2 attack against other cav archers. But Huns also have super cheap CA. Also, there's a lot of skirms from both. We might not see a single cav archer. I kind of feel like it's going to be skirms to clear other skirms, and then cav archers after, though. Which sounds weird. There's also a lot of food income, so you could see knights. Archers are just hiding in the distance for both of them as the skirms fight it out. And let's see. Crossbow, Bodkin, now for Mihai. He's sneaking off into the distance with those archers. Does S0bek sense this right now? Feels good engagements for him on the front. It feels like it's so important for him to sense that. And oh, man. Oh, he jumps on it as well before the upgrades come in, and Mihai has no clue. What a find from S0bek. What crazy game sense, dude. That's ridiculous. He just knew. He's like, it makes sense that his army would have peeled away there. Might have caught a glimpse of them. I think at one point he saw them around here on this hill. And obviously knew that there's no way that Mihai's going to want his skirms or his archers around the skirms. Elite skirms on the way for S0bek. You just kind of hoping you can use your own archers offensively right now. I don't think that's going to be the case. TC number 2 and then University for S0bek. So he'll want ballistics. University's already up, and ballistics is already on the way for Mihai. But S0bek will have TCs, and he can have ballistics. And he has 2 more skirms. So, I like this position for S0bek. So, I feel like S0bek played really well with what he could do in the first 2 games. And ultimately, Mihai held on with, like, really elite bonuses. Right now, this is S0bek, guys. Like, this is what I'm talking about. You just want to... Can you do it 3 games? Can you win 3 games in a row? Can you even win this game? Because Mihai is still so close to him. Still so close. Easily the closest game of the series so far. And now S0bek knows that Mihai has ballistics. And now they're both going to be nerds. And this is Age of Empires in 2025. You research a technology so you can hit targets. And then the opponent tries to... micro. But S0bek is destroying him in the micro right now. And we could see some siege. It would feel natural for siege, and there's the siege workshop from S0bek. Yeah, if there's just skirms dancing in the middle of the map, siege would make sense. Knights aren't actually great because they don't really have the best food ecos right now. Food ecos are really low. To spend 150 food on armor, and then however much food you need for a couple knights would be tricky. I think Mihai's going to use the cav archers as a distraction. But that is a kind of a costly distraction if it doesn't work out. That's crazy, though. He's only lost 1 cav archer now. And now he's killing the skirms with his own skirms. That micro is something else there from Mihai. And so skirms get forced away. The cav archer surprise could move forward. S0bek will have his own cav archers. No bloodlines, though. Still has a skirm in that group. And there's still these archers, which you can't lose track of. But bloodlines is one of the most important upgrades you need to snag here. And I don't think there's even a stable yet for S0bek. So he might have forgotten about that. What a game. I would dive right underneath that TC with those archers. I mean, what else are you going to do with them? Mihai sees it. Mihai walls it. And the archers will get killed. And then Mihai also micros down the mangonel at the same time. What in the world is that, dude? God, that was so good. It's funny, but the Skirmisher raid is actually more... It accomplishes more than a Cav Archer raid right now, because... you have to send your skirms back. It takes longer to react. But such a close game here. Slight eco lead for S0bek. Still has siege and skirms. All these things should be good, but doesn't have those numbers, and that's another mangonel down. Siege was supposed to be the difference here. And then that +2 attack bonus for the Japanese was supposed to be a difference, but he doesn't have bloodlines, which removes that. Army count's looking dangerous for the Hun player now. Mihai seems to just want to pounce on this. Now we have some Scorpions mixed in, which I like. Like, mixing in the Scorpions is great, but 1 mangonel gets added, and then suddenly everything could be vulnerable. 3 town centers for S0bek. Look at all the eco they've got to manage at the same time. They are incredible. And I saw a stable going up, so I think he'll get bloodlines for his CA as well. Now, is he going to sense? Like, I think because the army's not there, he immediately goes, he must be circling. Let's build an outpost to C. I wonder if he saw it in the distance there. Imagine the stable gets denied and he can't get bloodlines for another minute. He has Town Watch and he reacts to it instantly. Wow, this is a great game from S0bek. This is so good. He's also going to raid with his CA. And then I guess there could be those big fights in the middle still. I don't know if Mihai saw those Cav Archers down there. They might wedge themselves behind the wood line. Mihai looping back around this way. TC for Mihai will go up here. Cav Archers will find some kills. And that's not a good fight for Mihai. That is not a good fight. He needs to get out of there. Now a group of Cav Archers from him. What a game. This is what I wanted from this series. And how many Scorpions until they just become a liability? I think these days, people love the Scorpions because they research ballistics and it applies. But that happens and you just feel stuck. And how much will S0bek be regretting losing those Mangonels earlier to those Cav Archers? Like, those Mangonels would be so valuable here. His Scorpions are just getting flattened. Tiny raid back here that S0bek has to react to with the tower. Tiny raid here he's trying to dish out. But the main fight has to be won. There's so much eco around here. Scorpions are down. Still doable for S0bek. Nice reaction from Mihai to react here. There's so much happening, guys. This is cross for you. There's a lot of weak CA there for Mihai. And S0bek is one shot away to killing that. And oh my god, what a dirty shot. That was so good from S0bek. That was incredible. He kills both of them. I think it was an attack round between them. Still has some pretty big issues, guys, but he does have an eco lead. He just doesn't have the army right now. Here he could lose his Cav Archers. Here he still has army all around him. There's actually a hole into his base there. And now another Mangonel. It just pops out with in desperation, I think. And he loses it. But he's got a lot of skirms in queue. And now that there's no siege from Mihai, I think full skirm can clear it. The army from Mihai went down in the back. We do have Vills on stone from S0bek as well to build a castle. And a castle here might be game ending. So, yeah, Mihai took some pretty valuable engagements this game, but he hasn't had the same economy. Upgrades are good, but worker count just is not. I'm glad that S0bek is putting up this fight after the way the first two games went. You could so easily be just mentally defeated. You got to take it one game at a time. That's all you can do, right? I think both are going to click imp here. Oh my god, what a game, dude. What a game. Ah, this is crazy. They're so good. Someone says S0bek idle eco. Well, of course, he has 3 TCs across, and there were 6 million Cav Archers around his base. I think you should really be looking at the resources collected. He was in and out of those TCs as quickly as one had to be. Imp for both now. I think, like, Mihai has a problem here that he can't easily engage against this. I don't think he realizes he might need counter damage. I don't think he knows how good the macro is from S0bek. He might just be thinking that he can get upgrades on these Cav Archers and win. But here comes S0bek, and S0bek says, I will not get swept. Put the brooms away, people. Oh, God. S0bek. Careful. Units are standing on your castle foundation. Oh, God. Okay, Mihai says, get the brooms back out. Get him out. Think about it. Oh, big shot. Big shot. And this will not go as good as it did before for Mihai. That castle goes up, right? Castle. Castle's up. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. Mangonel can be shot instantly by the castle. CA will have to move away. A lot of those Cav Archers are weak. Now, what does Mihai do? Does he drop a defensive castle, or does he go forward and drop his own? S0bek has enough for another castle as well. Defensive castle for Mihai to tread that down. He's probably thinking, I'm an imp faster. And so this can be a throw from him. What a castle. That ranges the TC. It's right smack dab in the middle of the map. There goes Mihai with a bunch of vills to the north right now. Look at, real quick, guys, look at the amount of outposting S0bek has done in these moments, too. He also has done what some classic players would do. I call it the house post, where you place a couple houses and then an outpost, because it's less likely that your opponent's going to destroy that with the army. So you keep that position for a lot longer. So there's some house posting right there. He saw the army was in the north from Mihai. 2 castles on this hill now. And he also sees Mihai's castle. So with 2 castle tread production, assuming he can afford it, I think he's pretty light on gold at the moment. And that might be due to the raids from Mihai I missed in the back. Wow, these Cav Archers killed 21 eco. Yeah, with double Treb production, I think this could be problematic for Mihai. That's a crazy raid, though. S0bek had a much better eco than this. And, I mean, there's... all the other golds are very exposed, so... The stone... He's also off of stone, too. That raid's horrible for him. Mihai, though, doesn't have an economy to switch into a counter to skirms, does he? Not yet. And the skirms are right here. They're not firing, though. They're not firing. That fight's actually okay for Mihai. The skirms don't have armor yet. Still so much focus on these trebs. S0bek can hold this position. This could be good for him, but the Huns do have the more accurate trebuchets. If there's any civ that could fight this back by taking out the trebs, it would be Huns. I think it's like 60% more accurate. Look at him. Go for the trebs now. He's hitting every shot. And the skirms don't have armor. The skirm number's gone. I think S0bek doesn't have the amount on stone and the amount on gold that Mihai does either. He's repairing the trebs. But Mihai's got 20 on stone. Maybe he can repair his castle for a while. That's crazy. It's a great call, by the way. It's a great call to just attack the trebs. And these Cav Archers are feasting. This S0bek is falling apart. He's not really managing to get the numbers together here. The production's being camped by the CA, and the CA with Chemistry and Bracer are just killing off the skirms. With double castle, it looked so good for S0bek, but he's falling apart. And look at the amount of Cav Archers in queue for Mihai. Look at the amount of exposed eco. Huns are Huns, man. Now, those Cav Archers are going to die to the castle. So, that's Huns very much not being Huns, but... it still feels like he can maybe take out the trebs. Guys, there's only 2 trebs for S0bek. Excuse me, 3. But there's still not enough skirms out. The thing with skirms, guys, you just have to remember is the armor is why they're good. They do bonus damage against the archers, but they tank archer damage. And you need to research the attack and the armor. And S0bek has never been able to get the final armor. So his skirms are dying. And of course, there's no discount on the skirms for Japanese, so you're paying full price. And you need a lot of food eco for that. This has been too messy for a lot of food eco. Mihai could just slap a bunch of vills on the gold and the wood and call it a day. And he's about to take down a castle. Wow. He split up the CA. And Mihai about to sweep his way to platinum. What a performance. Again, first 2 games, very easy to say, well, you know, Mihai just outdrafted him. But what a great game. I think a great game from S0bek as well, reminding people how good he is. He had a great season, making it to the playoffs. Ultimately, he'll be back in gold next time, which is still hopefully something that he's really proud of. But that's a crazy hold. That is a crazy hold from Mihai. 2 castles versus 1, castle in your face, you lose a TC, and he still holds on. That's ridiculous. Thought he was in such a bad spot. I think the raid, I actually need to go back. For a while there, nothing was happening in this game. Is this the group that killed all that eco? No, that's much earlier. That's much earlier. Okay, there they are. So while everything else is happening, this group works his way into the back. At this stage, the eco leads there for S0bek, and this group ends up killing. At this point, it's got 4 eco kills. And then Capture Age, even if they die, should tell me. 24 kills on those CA. 22 of them were Vills. So I think it was a combination of that. And then a combination of S0bek just not being able to get armor on the skirms. And that other group, like, I think S0bek thought, I've got imp skirms, like, you know, Imperial Age upgrade skirms against Cav Archers. I'll win the fight. He just lost too many units. Skirms are just too expensive to lose like that. They're not cheap, really. I mean, it doesn't cost gold, so people like to think, oh, they're cheap. They're not really units you could toss away like that. And then Hun Cav Archers are dirt cheap. And Mihai made 103 of them. It's just another example of how you can't oversimplify the game. Because if you look at these units created right here, you would think, how on earth did Mihai win? How does 103 Cav Archers beat 92 skirms? It doesn't make any sense, but That's Age of Empires, man. More complex than that. Well played from Mihai. We'll interview him in a second, hopefully. In the previous 2 seasons of TTL, he lost in the playoffs, so he'll finally be platinum. 203 kills, 130 units lost. Economy. I mean, economy was super close. Really good for both, but I guess just additional gold, additional stone maybe paid off in the Treb War at the end. So I'll say this before we can maybe get Mihai in for an interview. Every player that I've spoken to, which hasn't been everybody, but I've spoken to some of the players that have lost in these playoffs, and they're really bummed and disappointed. They feel like they could have shown more, and they're competitive, so they're upset. S0bek, I'll obviously message you later, but bro, you had a great season in a crazy group. You played really well. You're back in gold next season, can potentially make it back up. There's still a lot to be proud of, so hopefully you don't lose these playoffs here, especially with the 3-0 result, and be too bummed with yourself, man. You deserve a lot of respect. You gave yourself the opportunity to come back, and I forget how many wins exactly S0bek had in the group stage, but he still had a lot. He ended up getting 7 wins, actually. Was that really 7 wins? Well, I forgot how competitive the group was, but still. He'll have more to show next season. All right. Let me see if I could get Mihai here. All right. Should be here with Mihai, new platinum player. Mihai, how you feeling?
Hello. Well, I can describe it in one word. Finally.
Well, I'm really glad you said it that way, because that was what I was going to say next. There's been so many attempts from you. This is the 3rd time you've been in the playoffs. I think you lost to Daniel and you lost to Hart. So coming into this, were there more nerves associated with it because of not being able to make it through the playoffs the other seasons?
Well, that would have been the only thing that could have let me down. The fact that I kept trying to qualify for platinum and I did fail. And I will call it even a 4th attempt, because I got a second chance with the replacement qualifier.
True.
Where I lost against Winchester, so that was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, you had a taste of that. What was the score against Finch as well? Was it 3-1 Finch or 3-2? I forget.
It was 3-1, yeah.
Okay, got it. Well, I mean, congrats. I'm pumped for you, but I do have to ask you as well. Like, coming into the group, I'll tell you straight up, I predicted you would win your group.
I predicted that as well, but I mean, okay, honestly, not practicing, it showed off. I can't deny that. I mean, I would like to say like Lewis did. I played 100 practice games, but I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't practice this much for this tournament. Honestly.
Did you? What was it? A little bit of overconfidence? Just thinking you didn't necessarily need your A game to win the group, and then you found out very quickly, like, oh crap.
Yeah, I kept losing games,
yeah.
And I was like, okay, oh crap. Maybe I need to practice a little bit.
So at what point were you worried, and at what point did you start to practice and prep throughout the groups? Because you lost 2-1 to Prisma, and I don't know if you've been hearing the chatter, but like Prisma and Lucho and all these guys like trained like crazy, right? And then you lost that one game to Miguel, which hurt you more because Miguel was getting swept by other people, right?
Exactly, and I lost almost 1 game to each player. So that after I lost 1 game to Wide, where I thought I'm favorite, then I got a bit worried that I might not get to platinum neither this time.
Okay, got it. And then was it a lot of like training with people in different gold groups? Because I don't think you have any teammates in gold. Most of your teammates are in platinum. Did you just train with anybody? Was there any approach in particular you took?
The only one I played a bit from gold was Prisma, because we played the first round and it didn't matter afterwards.
Okay.
Because at some point I started doing the math and see, okay, if I win against Reaper 3-0 and then Prisma beats him 2-1, then I'm straight to platinum and such. And I played with Prisma so he can get some practice as well. So
I mean, it makes sense too, because if you were to train with somebody from another group, I guess there's that small chance you could play them in the playoffs. depending on the group too. So
Well, usually how TTL works, I think you can practice easily with Group C and D because
yeah.
usually it's Group A against Group B and Group C against Group D. Maybe I'm not sure if it's something to get changed. Maybe mix up the group sometimes, but then it's unpredictable when it comes to practice.
Yeah, I think,
as you mentioned.
Yeah, that's something we can look at. I think it's actually good for you guys to know. I think if it's pre-established who you're going to play, that is helpful for training. One of the biggest complaints I've ever heard is that people don't know who they're going to play against. They can't prep, and they could show all their strats, you know. So like you knew your playoffs for a bit. Did you were you looking over games? Like, was there a certain approach over the last week or so, or what would you say was the key for you?
Well, the main mindset that I had is that I know if I play my best, I should win.
Okay.
No issue in that. So it was more like about being in shape, which I got a little bit off shape after the Garrison qualifier because I haven't grinded that much. So even when I was playing a couple of ladder games, I was struggling because I was a bit out of shape. So that did hurt a bit in my group as well.
Okay. Well, so the narrative for you and around you was this guy's probably going to get promoted to platinum. Anytime someone gets promoted to platinum, the narrative then is this person should be relegated.
Really motivating, I have to say.
I'm just going to say, like, but I mean, that, at least in gold, hasn't been the case because you had people come up from silver, win their groups. And then right now I'm looking at the way platinum's shaking up and the way things could go. And we have people who have come up from gold to platinum, and they look like they might be sticking around. So obviously it's super early. We don't know who's out of platinum. We don't know who you're going to be with. But what's your confidence that you can go into one of those groups, get to playoffs, or you know, just continuously be platinum going forward?
I think that's doable. And when it comes to TTL, anything can happen because there are a lot of tiebreakers scenarios where just nagging one game from a good player can keep you in the group, maybe even advancing to the playoffs. I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Again, if I play my best, I think I can do well in platinum, no matter the players. But it's a bit of luck factor as well.
Do you think that you will be preparing a little more? Do you think that'll be more necessary once you're up against the big boys?
For platinum, definitely.
Yeah.
For platinum, the story changes then.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think there's at least been a theme of like the big names right now are finding out this season that if the people coming up from gold are prepared, that they're dangerous.
Yeah.
So
look at Viper. He was down two sets.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to name names. You said it. You better be careful. You might be in Viper's group next time. So.
Oh, shit.
All right, Viper. No one will clip this and send that to Viper. So, well, Mihai, any other thoughts? Anyone you want to thank? Any other words, man? It was great to cheer for you. I kind of felt like it was your time. Happy to see you'll be platinum finally.
Well, thank you, Mom. And that's it. No, I mean, I have to thank to my teammates like Sebastian, Dark. I practiced a little bit with them, and a bit to Prisma, because he showed me that some maps are easier to play than it looks. Like the meta feels more straightforward than just trying to grid out sometimes, especially on the aggressive maps.
Could you tell me what maps Prisma shed some light for you?
For example, Kilimanjaro, or like Jungle Swamp.
Okay.
Maps where it's not that easy to wall, and aggression can really pay off, which I think I excel more than playing boomy games and macro games.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool to hear. Obviously, a bummer for Prisma after the earlier series today. It was always going to be a heartbreaker with those two, but I'm excited for you, man.
That was sad.
I think like my hope is, I mean, this is one of many results that could build confidence. I think that's been clear through your career that you've just been getting like slowly better and better and better. So I hope this adds to it, and I hope that there's more stuff to come from you going forward, Mihai.
Yeah, this one will definitely help my confidence level, which is honestly, which is usually the problem with pro players. I think it's mainly mind game, mindset problem than like practicing too much.
Yeah. Yeah. I think but once you get to a certain point, if the ability's there, I think practice helps so you can encounter every situation that's possible in game and
Yeah,
know what to
exactly.
do. And then also how you feel going into it. If you feel like you're the underdog or you're a pleb going from gold to platinum, you're probably going to look like an underdog and a pleb. So
Yeah,
I hope for you that you won't feel that way in platinum next time.
surely I'll try to not do
All right,
that.
man. Well, hey, thanks for joining. Congratulations again, and I'll see you in platinum next season, Mihai.
Very much, and thank you for hosting the tournament. It's always a pleasure to play it.
You're welcome, man. See ya.
Okay, bye bye.